Welcome to the Picaroon Podcast, first episode. I'm Trilly Nelson at Shotgun Trilly on Twitter.
And I'm Shitty61 at Shitty61 at Twitter.
Alrighty, we're for the first episode, we're just going to give you a season prediction, a breakdown of what we think is going to happen on the schedule. Not too far in depth. We just kind of want to give our predictions for the season. And we're going to go ahead and start out with
The Oakland Raiders. All right, here we go. This is the way I see our season panning out. I think our first game is against New England Patriots. I feel that we don't travel to the East Coast well, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and mark this as a loss for the Raiders. And then the next game is going to be against the Chargers, and it seems like we split with them, so they're playing at home. So I'm pretty sure we're going to start off the season 0-2. And then the next game will be against the Commanders. Once again, we get them at home. So
no, we get that one away.
Okay, I'm sorry, we get that on the road again to the East Coast. But I just think the Commanders are going to have a drop off from last season. So I'm actually going to predict the Raiders actually pull that game out. And then our next stop is going to be against the Bears, and that's going to be at home. And I just think that would be a nice win for us. So we're going to start off the first 4 games with 2-2. Now we're going to go over to Trilly and see what he's got to say.
I got our first game is on the road against the Falcons with the new quarterback. And I also don't think that we prepare for new quarterbacks early on. So I'm going to take that one as a loss, although that's a toss-up because it's a divisional game. Houston, we got surprised by them last year. I think we have more game tape on them. We're going to take that win. The Jets are going to jet. So I feel like that's going to be another win. And then we got the Eagles, which we seem to have our way with the Eagles a lot, and also predicting a drop-off from them this year. Maybe not as drastic, but I also feel like we beat them starting off the season 3-1.
All right, and then the next game up for the Raiders is against the Colts. Again, another East Coast trip, and I just feel that East Coast jinx is going to stick with us, and we're going to end up losing to a game we should win, but I feel some way or another the Raiders will find a way to lose that game. And after that game is going to be, we take on the Tennessee Titans at home, which I feel is a sure win for us because, let's face it, the Titans are even a bigger mess than we are at this stage of the season. So definitely going with the Raiders on that game. And then the next game is our dreaded rivalry, the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. I just think they're going to get us in KC. So that's going to be another loss for us. And at that point, we're going to play the Jags next. I'm sorry. And I think we're going to beat the Jags also at home.
Right after a bye week, I feel like it's just they're going to figure something out. You know what I mean? I agree with you.
Yeah, after a bye, we should come back strong against a not so great Jaguar team. So at this juncture, we're going to end up being 4-4. 4-4. 4-4 middle of the road. That's what I figure our season is going to be. We're going to be 9-8, 8-9 by the end of the year. Anything better than that, if we can make the playoffs somehow, it'll be nothing but icing on the cake.
So next up for us on our 5th game, we got the Seahawks, which is a game we have to travel to. The 12-man always plays hard, you know what I mean? So that's going to be a tough one, but I think we squeak out the win. They got a new coach. They don't really have a solid quarterback right now. And they got rid of a lot of different pieces like Metcalf, which is going to bring us back home against the Niners that we kind of struggle with. They have a great offensive game plan. Purdy has all that money coming in. McCaffrey said he's the most comfortable he's been in years. So I think we lose that one, and the Lions pay us back for last year's loss, and they're going to take us out there as well. But the Saints, let's face it, they're a mess as well. Their quarterback is not very good.
They always play you guys hard, though. I mean,
they do it. It's a divisional game, so and their defense always comes out smoking. But you know, and being on the road, that's also a tough one. But I do feel like we go ahead and get the job done there, taking us to 5-3, which is a lot worse than some others think that we'll be at that point. Then we go into our bye week, which is going to lead us over to your away game versus the Broncos.
All right, here we go with the Broncos. I feel That's another division game. I mean, fierce rivalry. We got them on the road, Mile High Stadium, and I just feel on that game we're going to end up taking an L on that game, just because Mile High Stadium and
Great defense. Bo Nix is coming into his own.
And all our games against the Broncos are usually decided by a field goal. So I mean, I just think it'll be a close game, but I just think they'll have the home field advantage and they'll pull it out at the end. And then after that game, it's followed by the Cowboys matchup, which is the team I hate the most in the NFL. But I actually think that the Cowboys are really messed up on their defense. They should have never let Michael Parsons go. I mean, to me, it's like Jerry Jones is becoming the new Al Davis, you know. He's putting his little pettiness in the way of trying to put the best team out there. So I actually think, though, that the Cowboys are actually going to beat us. For some reason, we seem to be struggling against them. We haven't beat them in a while. So I'm definitely going to go with the L on that one. And then that's followed by the Browns. And that game, I just think we can somehow pull that game out. And then the last game of this set would be the Chargers, which we lost to them on the road in the early part of the season. I think we'll get
at home, so you're gonna be on the road for this one.
So I think this one will win. We always seem to split with them.
Yeah,
So I think then at that juncture, after that, we'll be at 5-7. So we need to do some catching up these last few games. So after that, I'm gonna hand it over to the Buccaneers side.
Patriots are next for us, which defense is phenomenal. Drake May is coming into his own. But I feel like we win at home. You know, we take that win, making a 6-3, going into the Bills, which is a tough one, especially away, playing at the Bills. It's probably going to be pretty cold there. We're a fair weather team, so we're not really going to travel well. I think that's only about a 3-point win, though. Taking us back down to the Rams in LA. And they just seem to have our number. Sean McVay, a former Buccaneers coach, he likes to get the job done against us, and I think he does get the job done against us. But then we'll be coming back home against our home state's team, which is the Cardinals, and I mean they're up there with the Titans and the Saints with being just a real big mess. It all stems from Kyler Murray. He's a terrible leader. So we're just going to go ahead and get that win, leaving us at 7-5 at that mark in the season, which will bring them back to the Raiders home field versus the Broncos.
Yeah, this is going to be the rematch of their first loss when we played them in Denver. And I feel like we're going to be, I think the whole year, I feel that with the exception of maybe the Chiefs, we're probably going to end up splitting the home and home with the division rivals, but so I got this game as a win for the Raiders. But then we got a really, really tough matchup the next week, which is against the Eagles. But I actually feel they're going to have a Super Bowl hangover, and I don't think they're going to be as successful as they were last year. Still, though, I just have them beating us convincingly, probably, because their offense is just going to be too much for our defense. So that's definitely going to be a loss for us. And then we take on the Houston Texans, which is another road game. But I feel somehow or another we're going to pull that game up because I think we're about equal as far as talent-wise on both teams. With if Gino and them can progress a lot better by this time of the year, we should be able to pull that as a win. So I'm taking them as a win. And then we have the Giants, and of course we're going to beat the Giants because I just don't have no faith in the Giants coach. I just think he's the worst coach in the NFL, in my opinion. And which concludes the season with the dreaded matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I actually think we're going to lose this game. I just think that's going to be the only team we won't split with. So that's going to leave us.
But they might. Might be not starting anybody.
But you know what I said? I said earlier that we were going to split. So I'm going to go ahead and take this as a W.
Because they might be sitting all their players.
Yes, because by that time they could have clinched. You're right. So I'm definitely going to take the Raiders in this one. I'm going to change my mind on that. So that's going to give us a final record of 9-8, which we should be around that area. Anything more, if we can get to 10 wins, that'll be a nice season for us. But I actually think the Raiders are up and coming. I think Pete Carroll's a good coach, and we should be back in the playoffs sooner than later. So that concludes my wrap-up of the Raiders schedule.
December 7th, we get to stay at home versus the Saints again, and I don't think they learned anything throughout the season except for how to lose more, you know what I mean? So I think we're going to handle the loss. And then Falcons come into our home, and probably what could decide the division to see who wins the South, and I feel like we win the South 5 years in a row by making the Falcons Falcon, even though it's only on a four-day rest. We're going to be at home. They're going to have to travel. It's going to be a lot harder for them to travel and play well. Although I feel like that's also a toss-up as well as the first game. It can go either way. We can win or we can lose both of those games.
Yeah, the Falcons are loaded offensively, I think. So whoever plays the best defense should win those two matchups between the guys.
Yep, and then we got the Panthers with Bryce Young playing a lot better. Canales being a former Buccaneers coach, so he knows our system. It's going to be very, very close. I do think we edge that game. It's not going to be a blowout by any means. And then we always have trouble with Miami Dolphins. So that one right there is a toss-up to me. I put it on the list as a loss because I don't want to get my hopes up. But that one is a toss-up. I think we have the better offense and defense. They have two really great receivers, and they have a great running back, but we don't know where Tua is going to be. If Tua is in there, they'll be meshing, they'll be gelling, and it'll be a good matchup. And bringing us into the Panthers, which is a win. We need that one to secure the division. Bringing us to 11-6. Although I feel like we can beat the Falcons both times, we'll be 12-5. And I also feel like if we beat Miami, we can end up at around 13-4, 12-5. And that's my predictions on the season. At the end of the season, we'll come back and see what we did, or every week we'll come back and see how we're looking. And for the rest of the year on the Picaroon Podcast, we're going to be doing what we call the double down, which is going to be our best bet of the week. So we'll have one for Thursday, we'll have one for Sunday, and we'll have one for Monday. And we're also going to have one called the Piece of 8, which is a long shot.
Yeah, that's the long shots. Best long shots of the day.
Best long shot of the day for Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. And then we should be doing a recap on Tuesday to see how all the games went and how our double downs went.
All right, let's have a successful betting year. Let's make some money, guys. That's the goal.
Follow us at Twitter, and we should be doing some live streams as well. But that'll conclude our first episode. Check back tomorrow for our double down for the Thursday night game with Dallas and the Eagles.
All right, take care.